Hey, what's going on everyone? Matthew from therighttrader.com back today with another daily crypto update. In this video, I wanted to talk about how long will it take for cryptos to recover, and I'm also going to talk about the Ethereum Classic listing on Coinbase, which is going to happen very shortly here, I believe in about 2 hours or so, and it's already reacting positively to that, up 10% over the past 24 hours, so I wanted to talk about that as well. And overall, right now, what we're seeing is just a lot of stabilization in the marketplace, right? So the price moves are starting to tame down for the most part, and we're just seeing some consolidation and some stabilization, which keep in mind, right? That's better than dropping. So this is just part of the process that we need to go through to then hopefully increase higher. We could still move lower. That's definitely a possibility. But for this video and for the topic here of how long will it take for cryptos to recover, we're going to go off the assumption that we will be moving higher pretty soon, right? So I'm going to talk about the technicals in more detail as well. And another thing that I wanted to mention, which I found pretty interesting, is we're seeing a lot of altcoins surprisingly bounce here. And we got VeChain up over 34%. We got Ontology up 28%, so I'm not sure if there's specific news. I'm not aware of anything. Even Lisk up 12%, right? It's really been struggling, but here we seem to have a pretty clear bounce across a number of altcoins, and this is of course very good for the altcoin market because it's taken a massive hit, and I think that it was probably just time for a bit of a bounce here for the altcoins. They've been going down nonstop, and I think they were finally ready to get some positive action going. So that's a good sign. I'm happy for the altcoin market because it was definitely not looking pretty. Now we're still not fully out of any downtrends or anything like that, but it's a step in the right direction. Now let's talk about that Ethereum Classic listing. So like I said, Ethereum Classic currently sitting at the 11th spot with a market cap of $1.4 billion, and it's up over 10% in the past 24 hours. So basically, it's reacting positively ahead of its listing on Coinbase, right? So it'll be launching on Coinbase at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. And what I think will happen is probably a bit of a run up, right? I could see it go up, 20, 30% or even higher on the first day or two of launch. Now, I'm always a little bit weary of these type of quick moves, right? It often ends up with a bit of a drop shortly after. But regardless, I actually think Ethereum Classic is in a pretty good position right now. And no matter what, I think that it's very well set up to start climbing higher into that top 10 ranking, right? Maybe start approaching where Litecoin is. So that would already be a very nice increase. And we've already seen that it's been acting pretty strong even over the past few months. So I think that no matter what the market does, Ethereum Classic will be one of the altcoins to hold up better than most, right? And just to remain, relatively strong compared to a lot of other cryptos like it has been, right? So by all means, I do think that we're going to see an increase in the short term and even, in the medium term, but we may get some up and downs in between them. And overall, Ethereum Classic is actually in a pretty good position right now, I'd say. Now, I also wanted to talk about that market recovery. So let's go ahead and jump to the charts here. Now, like I said, for the market recovery, we have to go based off the assumption that we are going to indeed recover and that we're not going to fall lower. Keep in mind, it is a possibility that if we move below 6,000 Satoshis, that we're going to start moving down to 5,000 Satoshis. So that is still very much a possibility. What we've seen right now, though, is some stabilization, and we're getting the bounce at the right area, right? So nothing is fully confirmed and guaranteed yet, but we're not moving for the time being below 6,000 Satoshis. We're really putting in a nice base there. Indicators are looking strong. We got a nice rounding up on all indicators, which I like to set up a lot actually. It usually leads to a pretty strong move, and volume is pretty good. So typical consolidation here between 6,000 and 6,500 Satoshis. You can see these pretty flat candlestick with the long wicks, and that usually means that the market is kind of undecided on where we're heading next, right? And that's also due to the formation that we're in, which is a symmetrical triangle formation between these two yellow trend lines, and the end of that is actually in early next month at around 6,000, maybe $6,100. So that's probably where we're going to be heading next. We might get a little bit of a move higher in between. And overall, right, for a more substantial recovery, because that's what I wanted to talk about, really start moving back towards the all-time highs, how long would that take? And I think that at this point, it's going to take a few months, right? So we're not talking weeks. I think we're talking months here. And it's definitely going to take some time. Now, the one thing that could speed up that process is going to be the ETF approvals, right? Now, we haven't gotten one yet, but if an ETF gets approved, I think that's really something that not only for Bitcoin, but for the rest of the market will be very good, and specifically for Bitcoin will really help with a much faster recovery, and hopefully the rest of the market will also also react positively to that, right? So the ETFs are the wild cards here, and the approval or rejection is going to have a pretty big impact on Bitcoin and the rest of the market. So an approval will probably speed up the recovery pretty significantly, right? I mean, if we get an approval, there's no telling, but we could very quickly, get back above $10,000 in a matter of maybe a week or two even. So that could be huge, right? Of course, there's no way to know when and if that's going to happen, but we have numerous ETF requests in the next few months here, right? Especially in the next 2 months, I believe there's something like 9 of them. So there is the opportunity is there at least. Now let's go ahead and take a look at Ethereum. Ethereum got a nice bounce off $273, finally starting to get that rebound. Same thing on the indicators. We do have still a pretty nasty downtrend line ahead. We'll see if we're able to get back above that. If not, we're probably going to come back down towards our support level, right? Maybe reach the end of this triangle right here. So near $273 again. And like I've been saying, right now in the short term, what I think is going to happen is a bounce maybe up until the downtrend line, and then a bit of a recovery into the triangle formation. And that's something that I think we're going to see with a lot of cryptos out there, be it Bitcoin or altcoins. Now, for Ethereum and altcoins, how will the recovery look like? Well, I think that altcoins are in a little bit less safe of a position, right? Because if Bitcoin starts having a massive bull run, there's a possibility that the market, the altcoins actually start dropping, right? Since all the money will be flowing into Bitcoin, that is a possibility. So it's a little bit less certain on the time frame and how exactly altcoins are going to recover. But for now, what I'd say we want to see for altcoins is just holding up already, right? And we really want to see the downside slow down, especially. So that's what I would want to see, basically some consolidation for the altcoins at least, right? Now let's take a look at Litecoin, see what's going on. Litecoin is in the middle of this range near $55. The one thing that I don't like about Litecoin is that it never actually tested its support level at $45, which makes me think that that could still be at play. A lot of altcoins are, in a position where we can see that we could move lower again. Bitcoin showed some clear support, so it depends on the altcoins. But Litecoin, while I do think you can get a bit of a bounce here, maybe all the way up to even close to $70, I think that there's a very high likelihood that we do end up testing $45 here and closing that gap once and for all. Now let's go ahead, take a look at Nano. I've seen that some people are turning bullish again on Nano in the comments. And by the way, let me know what you think of this market recovery, how long you think it'll take. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts in the comments below. So Nano was definitely one of the weaker altcoins over the past couple of weeks. It actually started gaining some momentum here. Great buying volume, nice huge green candlesticks. Indicators are turning bullish again. Now we still have some resistance at around 2,800 Satoshis, right? That's where our upper Bollinger Band is at, and that's what I see slowing down this this bull move a little bit, right? We can even go up to 3,500 Satoshis, but nonetheless, it's good that we're starting to try to get out of this downtrend line. It looks like we may be even able to do so within the next day or two, and if that happens, it's for the better. I think that we have probably avoided some downside here, which is good. So even if we slow down the rise here, I think that we'll probably just end up getting some consolidation instead of a big drop, right? So that's already a very good sign. Let's go ahead, take a look at Ripple. Now Ripple is finally getting a bounce. It's trying to get back above 30 cents, still struggling with that a bit. The indicators are coming back up nicely. We'll see if we're going to make attempts for the middle band in the next week or two, which is at 37 cents. Definitely a possibility. Really, for now, as long as we're still above 24 cents, we shouldn't see any crazy downside. So that's our important support level to pay attention to. What happens in between is just the market has to take its own path, right? All these altcoins are a little bit on their own path, and we have to let things take their time, right? So Neo is currently pretty flat. Indicators starting to turn up a little bit, but at the end of the day here, still very flat for Neo. Never actually came and tested $13 specifically. So I think that we're basically just going to see some consolidation between $20 and $13 here. Let's go ahead and take a look at EOS, see what's going on. Now we're going to take a look at the Binance chart. EOS is currently moving back towards its support level at 7,000 Satoshis. A lot of selling volume still. Indicators pretty weak, so we're not actually seeing any type of bounce here, unfortunately, compared to some of the other altcoins. If we're able to stay above 77,000 Satoshis, that's of course ideal. If not, we're probably going to be heading down to 5,400 Satoshis. So that's pretty much the gist of what's going on. As far as a recovery, it might get a bounce up to the middle band, but seems a little bit on the weaker side. So hopefully we can start to stabilize here for EOS and not move lower. Let's go ahead and take a look at Stellar Lumens now. We're going to move over to the Binance chart. And as you can see, we're continuing our consolidation. A little bit of red candlestick here, but right now we're overall flattening out, maybe dropping just a little bit below 3,400 Satoshis. I'd say overall, I'm still expecting us to consolidate around 3,400 Satoshis and maybe even reach the end of this symmetrical triangle formation, which would take quite some time, actually. The end of that would be somewhere in November. But whatever the case may be, what really matters here is staying above our uptrend line, right? And if we do end up dropping below that, we want to stay definitely above 3,000 Satoshis. So those are levels to pay attention to for Stellar. And overall, I think that'll get its Coinbase listing relatively soon. I like it fundamentally, so I think it's equipped to deal with some bearish times here. And it has been holding up better than other altcoins. Lisk has a very nice increase over here. It was going down nonstop. We saw today, a lot of these altcoins that got a really big decrease actually started to bounce pretty significantly here. So two huge green candlesticks. We're now moving back towards our middle band. We may see some resistance there. Ton of buying volume. Indicators now turning bullish again. We may pull back from here. We may move all the way back towards $4.70. I'd like to see us get back above $4. Whatever the case may be, for now, it seems like we have avoided downside, so going to expect a little bit of consolidation here shortly for Lisk. Let's take a look at Cardano, see what's going on. We're going to move over to the Bittrex chart. Cardano is showing a little bit of a doji candlestick, so we could get a reversal here. No confirmation yet. We'll want to see for a move above 1,520 Satoshis to hopefully try to get a bounce higher, closer to a little bit above 1,700 Satoshis. Still at play for a move down to 1,254 Satoshis, however, right? We never actually really closed that gap, and it seems like it wants to, right? Similar to Litecoin. So that's something to be aware of. Let's take a look at our last cryptocurrency of the daily crypto update. That's going to be IOTA. Now getting a little bit of a bounce, some decent buying volume indicators, slowly flattening out and rounding back up. Definitely has room to move higher here. The middle band is all the way up at 73 cents. So we'll see what happens. But unfortunately, this is a situation where even if I think that we might get a bounce up into the middle band, and I actually think we have a very good chance of seeing that over the next week, maybe 1 to 3 weeks, we still didn't close this gap at 33 cents, right? And since we're so close to it, I think that even if we do get a bounce, we're going to end up closing this gap at 33 cents. So that's very similar to other altcoins like Litecoin and cryptocurrencies like Cardano as well. So with that being said, this is the end of this daily crypto update. Make sure to follow me on Twitter for live crypto updates, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a great day.